Hope I am audible to Arjun.
Yes, you are. Loud and clear. So, very good afternoon, everyone, and happy Navratris. Welcome to CL Educate Limited special session today, where we discuss our rationale for entering the digital assessments business, specifically through the acquisition of one of the leading players in this market, NSEIT DEX. My name is Arjun Wadhwa. I'm the CFO of CL Educate, and I'll be your host today. Joining me on this call is Mr. Satyanarayanan, founder and chairman of CL Educate. As always, this call will be recorded, transcribed, and made available in the investor zone on our website within the next 48 hours. What we've done today is we've put together a short presentation for you, which should take about 20 to 30 minutes, following which we will throw the floor open to questions. As always, please type your questions in the chat box on the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, and we will address them towards the end of the session. I'll start by requesting Satya to say a few words about where we are right now and the road forward for DEX. Satya, over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Arjun. Good afternoon, everybody. This presentation, which we will take, as Arjun said, about maybe 25 to 30 minutes max. We're covering it in two parts. The first part of it is, it gives all of us a very brief summary about the transaction. You could stay on that slide itself, Arjun, no problem. Okay. And then, which means if somebody is really constrained for time and you have to rush to some other appointment or meeting, first 7-8 minutes should give you the summary of it. And then we'll go a little bit deeper and get a greater texture about the industry, the segments, and DEX itself with its business components. Okay. That being said, let me start off by connecting a thread to the AGM presentation that you might have attended or watched the video later. There I spoke about the important aspect of the future. I was talking in the context of next 30 years, and having spent 30 years now this year, in this year, we are looking at how do we continue to nurture the ambition of emerging as a leading education technology player in India and from India. So that's the BHAG about. And if you recall, I also mentioned about our aim is perhaps to be more than a time teller. Can we be the clock maker? And with a whole lot of changes happening in the landscape, in the policy, in the global education domain, India will emerge as a very important player. And when that happens, can CL be a part of that is an important guiding principle for us. And I also spoke about, and I'm again reiterating, that if the Amrit Kal, next 25 years is of any value, it's going to happen because India as a theme, education as a sector, and technology as a capability of people from this geography can enable tech players from India to play a very significant role, not only in determining India's own progress in the next 25 years, but like India's contribution to various other nations or economies or societies as far as their higher education or school education or various other aspects of education are concerned. I'll move forward. These two slides actually captures quickly the summary of this transaction. And Arjun, there is something which is obstructing in my presentation. Uh, yeah, one sec. Yeah. Now it's okay. So if you look at this particular slide, uh, I'm covering here the financial and investment perspective of DEX as an asset, and I must say with a reasonable amount of confidence. And if you actually ask me, I am trying to uh, hold back a lot of excitement about this acquisition, but merely focusing on the numbers. This is a very rare asset built assiduously by one of the leading companies of India, which is known uh, for its technology prowess, because without that, NSE couldn't be doing what it is doing at such scale. So DEX is built by the NSEIT, the technology subsidiary of NSE, and for an asset of this size, what we have paid as a transaction, and that is what I'm focusing on in this particular slide, is the uh, we're paying we've paid 1.2x of the last year's FY24 revenues, or 6.4 times of the EBITDA that was accomplished last year. Okay, if you take that, uh, the definitive agreement and the actual exchange of the keys and control will happen maybe by the 1st of December, the latest. And if you look at it from a trailing 12 months perspective, this multiples will look even lesser than that. Okay? Uh, Number two, like we have shared in the earlier presentation also, when I took the summary of it in the AGM, the DEX business is at approximately a 17% EBITDA. So what happens to the overall entity, CL Educate, the listed company, is that we will move from 11.4 to 14 uh, on an annualized basis. About the exact numbers, last year we closed only CL without counting the X. We did about 38 crores. And please remember, this 85 that we're talking about is for the full period pro forma basis of April, March 24-25. Okay. Only about 4 months out of that of DEX will accrue to us. So another way of looking at it is the trailing 12 months, if you see, or you simply add what CL Educate would have done, what DEX will do. When you combine that, that will look like an 85 crore EBITDA uh, on 1st March, or on 1st April 2025. Another very interesting, exciting, and a very key part of the whole transaction is it is EPS accretive from day one, and it also is affecting both ROE and ROCE in a very telling manner uh, when we complete this transaction and integrate NSEIT DEX into CL Educate. Moving forward, I'm now taking a minute to explain the business perspective. As you know, this is an assessments business, while test prep and education has assessment as one of the components. DEX, NSEIT DEX focuses exclusively on assessments, and that's a 9 crore assessments or 9 crore individuals TAM, which gets added to us. So there is a tremendous amount of TAM expansion. And as you know, test prep, they are all verticals, whereas NSEIT DEX is a horizontal that is needed in every segment, every sub-segment, and so on. I'll come to that a little bit more when we move forward. We see a whole lot of synergies, including expansion of distribution network at rapid speed, the content generation for assessments that CL can be of great value in, and also it will create new revenue streams for both, for DEX as well as CL, as we move forward and integrate the two entities. Number three, and I think this is extremely important, this will find a lot more expression of it in terms of numbers over a 2 to 3 year period. But the fact of the matter is that NSEIT DEX is a very robust and proven model at massive scale when you compare it with the the opportunity of taking it to other countries. Can we take it to Singapore, Indonesia, Middle East, North America, which will also be a much higher margin business compared to what it is in India? Number four, uh, 20% relative market share, second largest player, and can be a very significant challenger if we get some of those things right. At an overall market level, the digital assessments is growing at 16%. So, which means that this particular thing, if you look at it as at 2028, can look twice of this number. 9 crores can go to 18 crores. The speed at which the market is growing, and the decisiveness with which assessments is becoming more organized, formal, and a lot more technology driven. I will come to that as we move further down the presentation. NSEIT DEX also enjoys a wonderfully built moat, which comes from the technology backbone and the distribution network that it has created. And this can only get better as it scales further from here. So that those two slides comprise the summary of it. Please note down your queries and keep sending it. I'll take all of those at the end of the presentation. Moving forward, in summary, a third very important vertical called assessment is getting added to our education services or edtech and martech. And as we move forward, again, they might become one integrated educational technology services, but that is for a later date and time. Let me move further. I'll cover some of these components as I move forward: recruitments, entrance exams, certifications, and so on. Now I'm going to travel a level deeper and cover in the next 6 7 slides the market opportunity and the DEX attributes quickly. Here, if you see that the overall assessments is approximately a 9 crore market, which is likely to reach 13,000 crore, 9,000 crore market, which is likely to reach 13,000 crores by 2028. And in this, while the overall CAGR of assessments is about 12%, the digital assessment is where the wind is blowing. That's where the world is moving. That grows at 16%, as you can see here. And the amount that it represents is 4.4 thousand crores, 4,400 crores. And that is likely to move to about 9,500 crores, which is approximately two-thirds of the overall assessments business. A more important thing for many of you who are understanding or trying to understand assessments as a specialized area, I would like you to pay attention to these uh, sub-segments comprising recruitment and promotions, entrance examinations assessments, vocational certification, universities going digital, and schools also will happen at a future date if you go by the NEP, professional certifications, and employability related certifications in addition to individual employability exams. Okay, so these seven of them are the sub-segments, and currently DEX is present in three out of these seven. I'll cover those as we move forward, but this will give you a little bit of a sense of what are the sub-segments and what are the relative sizes. Uh, and as I mentioned to you, NSE IT DEX is the second largest player in this market. Moving forward, the assessment itself, when you take it as a complete value chain, it has five very important stations or phases. The first one is about what is called as an item development or test development. This is where content development competency becomes key. Currently, 99% of excess revenue comes here, which is stage 2, 3, 4, and 5, application processing, test management and delivery, proctoring while the exam is on, and the fourth is result processing and result publishing. When we come together at an appropriate stage, we will start looking at this also, because CL has the internal content development lab, as we call it, as a phi lab here, a 100-member team, and we have a huge library of assessments that has been built over the last 20-25 years. So this is one of the significant places of synergies that we can draw upon. And test development normally also is a even higher EBITDA business, and fewer people are able to offer it. As you know, only the market leader offers content development. Nobody, including uh, NSEIT DEX, was offering test development as an integral part of the services as far as assessments was concerned. I'm skipping the next level of detail here and moving straight into another important macro aspect, which is how is the dynamics evolving in this industry. And many of you, as professionals or even as parents, must be tracking this, or just as part of your current affairs update, you must have tracked this, whether it is the NEET fiasco, or some such fiascos that has happened in the past. A lot of them could be attributed to the lack of robustness of this, and the government and all the nodal agencies who are mandated to conduct assessments at the national scale are now besieged of these problems. And what it has resulted in, as you know, is the Public Examination Act 2024. It has specifically broken down the entire assessments into very important sub elements, and each sub element is getting tightened, formalized, and all the stakeholders are coming together to make it a very robust process, because this affects efficacy of most reputed of examinations, whether it is for government departments, whether it's for higher education or for the corporates, or any other public service. If you look at this, the vendor accountability that has been covered in the Public Examination Act, and the government and the agencies are also unbundling the entire thing into content creations, facilities management, security, all of that. And different specialized people or organizations are being roped in, and the capacity building exercise is underway as we speak. And given the track record, parentage, and the reputation of NSEIT, they figure very prominently in all of these consultative committee meetings, etc., uh, as the Public Examination Act and the NEP 2020 are getting implemented. A third important thing is, in order to make the process robust, NRA, which got created after NEP, the National Recruitment Agency, it is coming up with specifications of NRA approved centers, and government itself is on its way to creating 70,000 seats that can go up to 150,000 over the next 5 years, of centers that will then be available for any assessments player who, along with their own capacity, can access these 7 lakh seats for implementation of examinations. Similarly, manpower, processes which needs to be audited, all of these are getting implemented at a very different scale beginning last year. What is the implication of this? Chances are that the large 2 or 3 players will get deeply embedded into this process, because the government is looking at building scale and making sure that examinations, assessments are all conducted by eliminating any form of unfair practices that can happen here. I'll move forward. The with coming into the NSE DEX as a business entity, it is now among the leading players of scalable and highly secure digital assessments. For instance, there is a control room that DEX has in its Mumbai office, wherein all the centers where this examinations are getting conducted, the CCTV live is monitored, live input is monitored in one control room, and whatever interventions are done or needs to be done, those are being done. So it is not anymore a very local mom and pop kind of an operation. It is very, very formalized, very technology driven, real time, and NSE figures there along with the market leader. As I said, we are present in 3 out of the 7 sub-segments: certifications, recruitment and promotion, and entrance examinations. Okay. What are the strengths that NSE has? Maybe some of it is repetition, but end-to-end capabilities, technology platform. I'll take one separate slide talking about technology platform that is inbuilt, custom built for Indian requirements, very robust, and that perhaps can be portable if you open up other geographies. The leadership team, whether it is a business leadership, operational leadership, or technology leadership, the leadership team is very seasoned. All of them have been with the team, so a couple of them since inception, a couple of them for the last 12, 15 years. And the wonderful thing is that the entire team is moving with the business, and they are very excited about the possibilities of scaling this from here over the next 5 to 10 years. As I mentioned, technology is very, very central. Stuff like data, analytics, AI, ML, all of those are being used for a variety of services which may not be visible. But for instance, computer vision, how is it being used? Those things at an appropriate stage, maybe we'll be happy to share. But security and technology, as I mentioned earlier, is a very important differentiator and a strong point of NSEIT DEX. If you look at the bottom of the slide, these are some of the segments or industry sectors uh, where DEX is operating: insurance, banking, financial services, ICI, chartered accountancy, working with the testing and nodal agencies, corporates, could be for corporate training, for corporate recruitment, and also for the university examinations. These are the opportunity segments. We are not present in all. For instance, universities, as we speak, just one pilot with one university is underway. CA, which I'm going to take as a small 2-minute case study for you to understand. Uh, it's a very new, innovative method that has come into existence. I'll take here. Many of us are familiar with Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. They have created a new process wherein they're asking this, and it is viewed as a student beneficiary exercise. How does it benefit a student? And they are saying that before you take the main examination, you need to do two things and make a submission. Just visualize it. Doing articles is a mandatory thing. Similarly, a 40-hour self-learning module has been introduced by ICAI, and you finish all your preparation, whichever way you're doing. You go through the self-learning modules uploaded by us, and then you have to take a mandatory learning assessment, which once you qualify, you will be allowed to appear for the CA examination. So in common parlance, you can call it as mock CA exams of the mains that's getting conducted, and that is being done by NSEIT DEX. This is a new introduction only this year, and they were anticipating that about 50 to 70,000 candidates or candidate assessments will happen. But in the first couple of quarters itself, they already done 2.5 lakh candidates. And if you look at downstairs, I'm not going to go uh, through all of it, but but 30% of the students are taking the exam again. There are four subjects. It is getting done in 270 locations, and this is a sorry, this is an on-demand model, which means a student goes online, chooses the city, chooses the date that suits him or her, books the place, the seat is allocated in the nearest center in your city or town, and then you go and take the exam that gets submitted to the ICAI. And once you do your submissions that are mandatory, you get to become a qualified candidate to write the CA main examination. So chances are that if this is a case study, there's no reason why one cannot argue that such a thing officially will happen for a bunch of other examinations as well. Okay, but I thought I'll just take you through one case study. Uh, the four adjacencies that we are seeing in terms of segments are, and NSE Dex is not yet present in these major government examinations, the big five, which includes exams like RRB, SSC, all the NTA conduct examinations, and so on. That is one sub-segment. Test prep assessments. For example, even as career launcher, we give mock tests to students all the time so that we can give them a simulated environment experience. Such a thing is done by every single test prep company. And this is something that, as a specialized player of assessment, NSEIT Dex can go and seek this business from all the organized test prep players. Number three, universities examinations are slowly beginning to go digital. This could be the mid semester exam, end semester exam, not just the entrance exam. So that's a very massive number, estimated to be 72 million in itself by FY28. And lastly, employability and corporate assessments. To get into IT sector, to get into BFSI, to become a stockbroker, to become an advisor, SEBI approved advisor, all those kinds of examinations that you and I know, those are all assessments driven, and those assessments have to be very examinee centric, which means I should be able to choose the date and time of my choice to take an examination, very similar to how ETS does it for a GRE or a GMAT or an ACT. Okay? These are the four future adjacent opportunities that we're looking at. One last slide before I wind up. Uh, this is perhaps the most important uh, from a differentiator point of view for NSEIT Dex. There's a very sophisticated exam engine. There is a very sophisticated platform that integrates all the functions to deliver the service seamlessly to the student, right from registration, onboarding, fee collection, identity checks, giving you the allotment of seats. When you go there, we do proctoring, and then results are generated. The entire thing is a fairly big deal as a platform development. If anybody wants to come into this, it's not easy. Uh, the last and the most important, which is what has made this as a super sensitive business, which nobody can enter unless you have a whole lot of credibility, track record, etc., is the security layer. How good are your systems of security, uh, uh, auditing capability, uh, creating vigilance and surveillance, and so on. So the team and the seasoned experience of building this from scratch and having fine-tuned it, mastered it over a couple of decades is a very big plus as we get into the assessments business through NSEIT Dex. Just to close with the same set of thoughts, we are silently very excited about this. As you know, the binding agreement has been signed. The paperwork, the legal work, etc., is all happening. We are hoping to close the entire thing maybe by the mid of November, though the internal target is maybe a week or two earlier. And then for sure, December 1st onwards, this is likely to be part of our business rhythm. And beyond that, we'll definitely organize a way of interactions for you with the leadership team of NSEIT DEX. So, just to close the session, we continue to think that there are going to be such telling opportunities that will come our way, and we will hopefully be good to pick up some of those and keep changing the orbit of CL as we move forward. I'll pause there and hand it back to you, Arjun, and maybe you can facilitate any questions if they are with us.
Sure. Thank you so much, Satya. That was extremely insightful and useful, and I hope our investors learned a lot about the newest member of the CL family. As you rightly mentioned, we'll look to have this as a part of our portfolio from Q3 onwards. There are a host of questions, as you can well imagine, that have come our way. Uh, I'll keep picking them up one at a time, and I'll address some of them myself and throw a few your way, Satya.
Sure.
First of all, there's a host of people congratulating us on doing a fantastic deal. Lots of people saying that it will be a very valuable asset for us, and what better time to do this session than at the start of the Navratras to uh, get some sort of auspicious tailwinds behind us. So thank you everyone for your good wishes, and we hope to continue to build on this over the months and years ahead. Specifically, there are certain overview questions. One of them is, will the NSC brand name be changed? Yes, this will come as a part of the CL portfolio. So the brand name will need to be changed, but there is a grace period that we have negotiated with the National Stock Exchange, where we will continue to use this as something which is formally NSCIT, so that there is some level of continuity. And just to add to that, the good news, as Satya mentioned, the entire team that has been handling all the clients and all the operations of NSC over the last 18 years continues to be as a part of this project, moves to CL as a part of the entity that we are acquiring. And so, due to the business continuity that will happen from having the team as a part of CL, we envisage no real challenges in terms of brand name. But yes, as a brand, obviously NSC is the owner of the brand. We will have usage of that for a limited time period post the acquisition. Uh, there are, as I said, a host of questions, so I'll just keep running through a few of them. Madhur is asking, who's the leader in the assessment space right now and how large are they? Specifically, I'll just take that question very quickly, Satya. The current leader in that space is TCS Ion. Obviously, it's a Tata company. And currently, our estimation is that it's in excess of about 1,200 crores in this space. Uh, in terms of market share, there's a follow-up question that we've spoken about the market size being 4,500 crores, but our business size is 200 crores. Why is the market share 20%? Just to reiterate, Satya was talking about the relative market share in the business segments that we operate in. Uh, that is where our market share is 20%. Specifically, moving forward, there's a question in terms of why is the business revenue flat for the last 3 years and what gives us confidence to grow this going forward. Good question. Number of reasons for that. One of which, of course, was COVID, but also, this entity NSCIT, as you're all aware, has been on the block for about a year now. We ourselves have been in negotiations with the team looking to purchase it for the last 9 to 12 months. So, as you can probably imagine, a business of that nature the mandate from the organization was to focus on what they're doing at present and to look to sell the business as is without necessarily looking to add any new business lines or any new study centers, and to avoid additional capex, etc., in this business. So the focus was on getting the organization ready for sale and handover, which is why for a couple of years the revenue stayed fairly stagnant at about 200 crores. The good news is FY25 continues to look exceptionally robust. It looks very positive, and we have every reason to be that there reason to see that there will be growth in FY25 over FY24, and that has factored into our pricing as well. As you're aware, we are buying this business for an initial consideration of 230 crores, with a potential of it rising to 305 crores based on certain business goals being achieved. So no one will be happier than us to actually pay the additional 75 crores if the business grows the way we have imagined and the way the business team has presented to us that they expect it to grow over FY25. So huge optimism from an immediate FY25 perspective. And looking further ahead, Satya spoke about significant adjacencies that exist for us in this business. We already are seeing significant movement from the business teams ever since the talks started formulating, and the enthusiasm is there on the ground to get new businesses. Just to give you an example, the case study that Satya took, ICAI, is a contract that has been signed in FY25, and it is a 3-year deal. So we expect that revenue to add not just this year, but also over the years ahead. And similarly, there are a lot more new lines of business that we hope to add over the months and years ahead. Lots of additional contracts that the team is chasing. And we imagine that it will add significantly to both the top line and the bottom line in FY26 and 27. More questions, and I'll throw one or two your way also, Satya, so that it's not just me talking. Why didn't the erstwhile DEX management expand internationally, and what gives us the confidence that we would be able to do the same?
You want me to pick that up, Arjun?
Or I can.
Yeah,
Either
no
way.
problem. No problem. I'll pick it up.
Okay.
So, one of the things that we have learned during the course of last 9 to 12 months of conversations is that being a part of NSEIT, they also were significantly uh, constrained about what are the things that they could do, what are the things they were discouraged from doing. And especially after NSE announced its plans to go public, international businesses, they were scanning about 3-4 years ago, just before COVID happened, and then COVID did a significant amount of recalibration of priorities and so on. And as you know, it took for every company, it took a year and a half to 2.5 years to get back the core stuff. And now they are looking to be in a place where both readiness and this transition might just make that happen over the next couple of years. Even we are not going to rush too hard in any direction. Our aim also would be to solidify, reinforce, and then make a very calibrated 3 to 5 year plan, wherein we think that DEX can go and make a significant difference or contribution not only to our top lines, but also in being a very important strategic player, infra player in the countries that we get to.
Right. Thanks, Satya. More questions, as you can imagine, and I'll continue going for another 10-15 minutes or so. Or are the contracts tender based, and what is the competitive intensity as the market looks very fragmented? I'll take this, Satya. Yes, it goes through an RFP process. But as Satya specifically spoke about on the technology slide, putting together an exam engine and a security level of this nature, and to add to that the distribution that dex offers, gives it an unparalleled moat in this business. It is virtually impossible for a new player to enter this market and be successful right away. The quantum of investment required to build a technology platform of this level of excellence and a distribution level of this level of excellence will take an enormous amount of time. So, which is why the two largest players in this segment, TCS and DEX, are dominant players as a result, and the rest of the players operating in this space are all at a sub 7% market share from a relative market share perspective. So there is an opportunity for people to come in, low ball on bids and compete, but those tend to be more ad hoc assignments, and tend to be of a nature where they will not necessarily survive beyond the first year, and especially where reputation is critical. You need to have the security backing of a company of the quality of Dex to make it work. Satya, you want to add something?
No, Arjun, I'm fine. Thank you.
Oh. Uh, uh, how are we looking to fund this acquisition is a common question. We will use a mix of debt and internal accruals to fund the acquisition. Without going into specifics in terms of the quantum of each, we will disclose that in due course. We are currently in the process of putting that together, and it will go through the necessary routes of board approvals and so on. But as you probably are all aware, at the AGM, we had recently taken approval to increase our debt limits, so we are comfortable on that front. And obviously, given the quality of the acquisition, raising debt at a very competitive interest rate is not going to be a challenge for this kind of a business. Plus, as you're all aware, we have been sitting on 100 crores excess of cash on our balance sheet for the last year and a half. So we are well placed to use a mix of debt and internal accruals to fund this. More questions of a similar nature. Uh, would this business require any further investments in terms of technology upgradations, etc.? Question from Samir. Yes, Samir, given the nature of technology investment that goes into preparing a product where security needs to be of the highest level, technology investments will be ongoing. In addition to that, we also expect to uh, and I'll just put this in a little bit of quick context. CL comes with 175 study centers. DEX comes with 234 centers. We hope to use a mix of both of these going forward from a business perspective. But that being said, uh, exclusive DEX centers will probably look to still add a few every year. And that would continue to also require a little bit of technology investments, because all of these centers are very technology intensive, but this will largely be a mix of OPEX and CAPEX. These continue to be centers which are company operated or company managed and on a lease kind of arrangement. So, from a CAPEX perspective, it's very low. It is largely an OPEX kind of expenditure. Uh, I'm just going to continue to run through the questions and see if there's anything I might have missed. Uh, Satya, there's a question on conflict of interest because we're a test prep institute versus DEX being in the business of conducting exams. So, would you like to take that
Yeah,
while I
sure.
scroll questions?
Sure. Yeah, I think we are mindful of that, and so which is why, in every sense of the term, the NSEIT DEX will operate as a separate entity, separate company, separate leadership, and also create an independent board for that, in order to make sure that it is complete in itself. There would be places where we will try and explore synergies as we go along. But operationally speaking, the, as they call it, the insulation, the Chinese wall, I think those things will be done just to ensure that there is no conflict of interest, and also sensitizing or educating uh, awareness about this change of ownership with all the clients that is underway, and that has been built in. That was one of the most important things that we diligenced first before we even took a very serious step in this direction.
Right. Thanks, Satya. There's a question on what are project-related expenses in their P&L, in the DEX P&L. So, Hemant Shah, thank you for your question. Really appreciate you having done the homework of going and taking a look at the DEX P&L before coming. And so, just very quickly to address that, and anyone else, just to understand this business, I spoke about 234 company managed centers. In addition to that, DEX also uses 3,000 plus elastic centers. Satya mentioned that this business works in two ways. One, there are on-demand booking of seats, which is more of accreditation kind of business, which means centers which run 6 to 7 days a week, and you can book a slot and come and write an exam. There are also exams which happen maybe once a year, once in 2 years, on a particular Sunday, or maybe happen a few times a year. And these sort of exams, you would need an immense amount of capacity to be able to handle the load of that. So these work largely through elastic centers, which could be universities or educational institutes or schools, where you would be using a computer lab or just a facility, a large auditorium, and bringing your own laptops and tablets and actually executing the exam in this kind of an environment. So this would require renting the place, the manpower to proctor or conduct the exam, and the cost of actually putting together the infrastructure, which is the laptops, etc., to execute the exam. All of these would come under project related expenses. Okay. Satya, there's another question in terms of top clients and how much percentage of revenue is coming from PSUs. So I'll just quickly take that as well. The clientele is across a group of industries. We covered it in this slide. We are specifically not going into details in terms of client names at this stage. We are mindful of certain conversations happening with those clients, as Satya mentioned, about the change in management, etc. So we will refrain from mentioning more about specific clients for now. But as Satya has highlighted the sectors here, you can by and large guess who would be some of the major players in each of these sectors, and you can imagine that NSE Dex works with them. Specifically, the major clients are what we would call quasi-government. NSE Dex is also something you would call as a quasi-government agency, and most of the clients would also fall under a same category in terms of being quasi-government. So specifically, all of these accounts are handled by agencies which are excellent paymasters, pay on time. The collection period for DEX, and I'm specifically mentioning this because of certain historical baggage that we have working with government and organizations in the past, is typically about 50 to 60 days. So this is a business where bad debts have been virtually non-existent. Payments happen on time and are largely milestone driven. And it is a business where there are no state government clients at this point in time. All clients are either central government or quasi-government agencies. Okay. Satya, I'm just looking for unique questions. A lot of them are repetitive.
Sure.
There's a question on the biggest risks that we foresee for the DEX business going forward. Would you like to take that?
I think I think we perhaps must just stay very, very uh, studentish or newcomerish, and learn it from scratch. Uh, a couple of things which are of extreme criticality, which is continuity of the team, which has got a tremendous amount of expertise and credibility with the clients. Their continuity, if you ask me, is the most important attribute in our minds, and being able to de-risk on the what came up as a question earlier on the potential conflict. That is the other one. However, what gives us enormous amount of uh, courage or encouragement or clarity on that side is that only 16 to 17% of assessments is entrance exam driven, and CL's entrance exam business is essentially a big time play of only three segments: MBA, law, and IPM. So even if we just don't touch them for the next 100 years, that's hardly an accumulated TAM of 5 to 7 lakhs or 10 lakhs out of the 9 crore. So that doesn't worry us, but we need to make sure that we are steering clear of any of those risks of either conflict of interest, or building the strength of the team, or building on the strength of the team, as two important uh, success factors. And hence, if you look at it, the flip of it, it will be a risk factor. We shouldn't goof up on these two.
Thanks, Satya. There's just one last question that I'll take. What is the duration of an average contract? And a little, can you throw more details on the contracts? I'll just take that very quickly. The average duration, most contracts are typically 3 years or 5 years. If it's a multi-year exam, if it's a one-time exam, like Satya specifically mentioned, an exam called RRB, which happens once in 3 years or once in 2 years, then obviously those exams come up as one exam uh, tender. So, but if it is an annual exam or an exam which happens like accreditation or something of that nature, certification, which happens on an ongoing basis, then typically contract durations are 3 to 5 years. One good news from an NSC perspective is that their continuity of contracts and continuity of clients has been absolutely exceptional over the last 18 years, with hardly any clients dropping out once they get onboarded. One of the significant reasons for that is the technology infrastructure, which is customized and built for those clients. And as we spoke about multiple times during this session, it's very hard for someone new to come and replicate that. So once you start working with someone in this space, and you develop an exam engine, NSC Dex has a proprietary exam engine called Axord. So once you develop it for an organization like this, it's very hard for a new player to come and create a new exam engine. Not to mention the distribution network. We spoke about 234 centers and 3,000 elastic locations. Those are distributed over 700 districts of India, which is the widest reach of any player in the assessment space. I often quote the example, like the election commission says, we go to every single part of the country and get every person's vote. In a similar way, the DEX team, when they first met us, they told us that, we make sure when we talk to our clients, one of the biggest drawing points for them to work with us is that we have fantastic coverage all over the country. So if anyone wants to do the CA exam, for example, whether you're in Rajasthan or whether you're in Manipur or whether you're in Kanyakumari or Srinagar, it doesn't matter. You're not very far from a DEX center. On that note, I'll wrap things up for today. Thank you so much. I see a lot of congratulatory and good wishes. Thank you everyone for your good wishes. We'll continue to build on this, and we'll catch up with you again in about a month's time with our H1 results. Thank you everyone. Have a great Navratri week, and we'll speak to you all again soon.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Arjun.